application site. The address is 11 Bartlett Close, which is outlined in red. The tree shown indicated with the green circle. And some adjacent properties 9, 11 and 15 Craven Court, the southwest side. This is the tree view from Bartlett Close. So number 11, the applicant and the owner of the tree. Slightly closer in. Just sort of flipping around on the other side, the southwest side. So this is number 11 Bartlett Close, the applicant's property is of a triangular garden. This is number 11 Craven Court to the left, and 15 to the right. And that's a picture. Again, this is number 11 Bartlett Close. Number 11 Craven Court, the subject tree. This is taken from this picture is taken from the footpath that leads off, the public footpath that leads off from Craven Court and goes through to Gifford Close. The recommendation is to refuse it on the basis that the reducing the tree, which hasn't been reduced or pruned before, certainly not in terms of overall reducing its dimensions, will adversely affect its natural form and appearance and therefore its amenity value. And also reducing the tree in relation to the reasons set out by some of the adjoining neighbours. It's going to have little or pretty limited impact on reducing those sort of characteristics that are fundamentally, without dismissing them as being a bit frustrating for those who, when anyone lives near a tree, they are part of living the trees, and certainly not a reason for sort of lopping or reducing or removing the trees, and that's a general sort of policy of the council.
Chairman, is there another deputation?
No.
Sorry, no,
Sorry.
wasn't
Yes, 3 points, if I may. One, we have all been here before. Large trees, towering over houses. Tree was there decades ago. The house was built too close to the tree. It's a classic. And before Nick and I came onto this committee in the late 70s, early 80s, I'm afraid planning permissions were given for houses too near the trees, for which I blame none of the officers here present. So that's the first point. Point 2, this is an ash tree, and as members will know, ash trees tend to grow more rapidly than oak trees. And this, although you can't really see it from this angle, if you had a photograph taken from the side, you would see that the branches almost touch the house in Craven Court. And there is concern, as we said on the previous application, when we looked at Miles Lane, there is a concern that in strong winds, given the very close proximity to the houses, there is a possible danger to houses. So that's my second point, that the ash tree has grown very rapidly and is towering over the houses in Craven Court, particularly 3 houses in Craven Court. Now, thirdly, this is a very modest proposal. It doesn't propose felling the tree. It proposes reducing it by 2.5 metres. And if I may, Chairman, just point out something on the screen, with your permission. If we take 2.5 metres, in other words, that kind of reduction. And if you want to know what 2.5 metres is, it's about that, or as colleagues will know, it's just a bit less than the width of the Eclipse bus. That's all. That's the very modest proposal that before you lose it. So.
How many buses high is the tree?
I think, actually, it's an interesting question, Councillor. I think you're talking about 2 double-deck buses at least. And all you're going to reduce it by is the less than the width of the Eclipse bus. Which was familiar with Councillor.
I think that's 8 feet to us older people.
Yes. So I'd like to propose that we allow the very modest works which the applicant has asked for, and I believe the tree will still be of amenity value, and if it's done skillfully, it will actually enhance the environment and give a little bit more security to the residents in Craven.
I think it was explained to me yesterday that with this ash tree, if you take off 2.5 metres, and Paul will bear me out on this one, I think you can confirm it will then start to grow very vigorously.
Yes.
So it will be back where it was, but it won't be, I think you said, the original shape. At the moment it's a tree that's never been touched, so it has a natural shape to it. Once it's chopped back on it will go in all different directions, and in fact it will not represent the tree that it looks like today, but it will still be as big.
Ash is a very vigorous tree. I'm sure most of us, when we have self-seeded ash trees in our garden, we pull them up straight away. Whereas a self-seeded oak tree or a self-seeded silver birch tree, in my garden anyway, I keep them and let them grow. But any ash saplings, they're out, because they do grow vigorously. And this one particularly has this year grown very vigorously. It's had the right amount of sun and rain, and if only we had a picture which showed it actually almost touching the roof of those two-storey houses in Craven Court. I still think that we will improve the amenity value of the tree, and we will give people a bit more security from their concerns. So I still propose we should approve the application.
Or is there going to come a time when we have to look at this tree and check it?
Chairman, the presumption is obviously against felling or pruning trees. That's absolutely necessary. That's the same policy approach we take to manage our trees and the way we determine applications to work on protected trees. And then we look at the reasons being put forward. In urban areas, there always is a reason why trees have been pruned. I didn't observe it being quite as close as that, to be honest, but I might be wrong. Two things really. 2.5 metres is quite a lot. It will result in obviously pruning wings of around 100 millimetres, and obviously lots of branch ends. There will be some of that foliage-bearing branch, but we're looking through what they've also have the right to reduce. So it's reducing its dimensions by 2.5 metres. If you look at the tree as a three-dimensional object and a volume, that's actually about 60% of its volume. So it's a lot. And the way the tree responds to that will be rapid growth of what we call the water shoots, so the long shoots in the first year and subsequent years to replace that volume of branch work. So we say 2.5 metres, but we're forgetting as a three-dimensional tree, which clearly is, that's actually over 60% of its volume. It's also the natural branches with the foliage on the end, which is how most trees develop. If it is getting close to 11 Craven Court, the dwelling, or 11 Bartlett Close, then I would expect that we just receive an application to tip reduce or reduce selected branches that are protruding towards a particular structure, not reduce the whole of the tree. So in answer to your question, there are ways of doing. No one's expecting that the tree should be left catching against the property, but that would be dealt with by particular parts, or maybe crown lifting the whole tree, which pushes it up above soffit height, or whatever the relationship is with the particular structure you're trying to clear. I mean, you actually have all the trees. We've got some trees to the left and the right, which in terms of how Bartlett Close, Rannoch Close, Craven Court, some of the relationships are a lot closer perhaps than we like today, but I would suggest the ash tree actually is probably one of the better trees there in terms of its quality and in quite a good and defendable relationship with those adjacent dwellings.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, a few comments and then a question for Paul. The representations, I'm not sure if many of these would be addressed by even taking 2.5 metres off. There's a 6-foot branch, a 5-foot branch. Now we don't know where the annoying ones, we don't know whether they're at the top or down below. Paving slabs reset, but that's not going to change. Branches are always falling off on windy days, well they do. A lot of trees are blown down in the area, I'm not quite sure what that means. It doesn't contribute to the local amenity, well clearly it does otherwise. And removal of the ash will solve all problems. We're not talking about removal of the ash. So a lot of these, to my mind, even if we locked it by 2.5 metres, wouldn't be addressed. But the question is, on the relevant planning history, see that previously they'd applied for works to oak trees and ash, but the ash was refused. I assume it's this one we're talking about, and that was upheld by the inspector. Was it this one we were talking about, Paul?
Yes, Chairman. It was a split decision to reduce the oak you can see to the left, and that work's been done, which was a tree that was previously reduced, and then the previously reduced tree, we're not going to refuse it being reduced to where it was before, so at some point, I suppose that cycle has been started with that particular tree. So it was permitting some work to some oaks, but it refused the works on this ash tree. The applicant didn't meet the time scale, and so it didn't give specific reasons when he put his appeal, and it was dismissed by the planning inspectorate straight away.
When was it?
So he's resubmitted only a couple of months ago in the summer.
Oh, is it?
But I think, Chairman, in fairness, I think that this has been rectified in the sense that he has put a report in, I believe, by an arboriculturalist.
On this application, no.
By the time he had.
That's okay.
Could I propose as paper chairman? For the reasons that we have an excellent arboriculturalist who has very, very rarely, if any time, given us bad advice.
Yeah, Paul's made some alternative suggestions which presumably would satisfy the needs of the applicant. If it's refused, can we not send a note, an advisory note to the applicant that there are alternatives of achieving the same end without this drastic measure of taking on 2.5 metres?
I've got no involvement since the first application. We did have some discussions. I had some discussions with the applicant and suggested that my recommendation would be some lesser works that could be done. He chose to go ahead with the initial previous application, which obviously was part refused, and this application, the recommendation is the same. Obviously, if we refuse, if the council refuses this application, right of appeal would exist again, which you may or may not pursue. Whatever the event results of that, we could then engage with the owner if they obviously contact us and agree those lesser works, which might resolve some of the issues arguably are resolved with lesser and lower impact works, and also works that deal with the reasons being put forward, which actually, I think that's the other point, is there's the impact on amenity and the reasons being put forward. That pruning is not really going to fundamentally materially change what appears to be mostly issues of living with those trees. There's no evidence that it's unsafe, there's no evidence of history of shedding large branches or any issues with the tree, apart from the fact that clearly, yes, some of these things are going to be injured if you live quite close to relatively large trees.
Chairman, the applicant on the last occasion appealed, for whatever reason, the appeal didn't go through as a proper appeal, but it got refused by the inspector. But I suspect that on the basis of that, then if we refuse this, and I suspect that listening around the table, that's what's going to happen here this afternoon, he's likely to appeal again. So would it not be good to attach to the notice when we send it to him of the refusal is that a note to the effect that some works would be considered, or were not exactly, I don't know, quite sure how it needs to be worded, but as Paul has said, there are ways of achieving what they probably want, but not to this, drastic way of cutting 2.5 metres off. There are ways of actually resolving it, and if we put a note on it, it might help us to strengthen our situation should it go to appeal.
That's what I said.
I think we probably can. I think obviously we need to just see the specific reason that he's put forward, because obviously there are other representations that raise other things, and some of them actually further away from the tree. I suppose number 11, Craven Court, is the closest along with the applicant. The other two, 9 and 15, Craven Court, are a little bit further away, but I'm sure we can do that. We can try and help.
Yes, Chairman, we can. I mean, if members feel that a lesser extent of works or by reducing selected branches may assist in addressing some of those problems, I think we can put a note together, Chairman, that will go out on the decision notice.
So crown lifting might be to overcome the branches that are threatening the house.
I think certainly in relation to number 11, in relation to the trees actually, number 11, Craven, and number 11, Bartlett, and I think lifting or shortening specific branches, they're getting closer to the structures would work. I think number 15, number 9, I'm not really sure how the tree affects them directly in terms of bits falling off it and proximity to those dwellings are quite a long way away, but yeah, we could articulate works that the council would support if they're willing to submit a fresh application. and they can still do that and go to appeal on the refusal, so then they've got flexibility there.
Thank you, Chairman. Whilst I wouldn't disagree with that, there's of course nothing in here that says this is close to my property. The first we've heard about this is Councillor Davis's representation. Nobody has said this is touching my property or close to my property, so we've actually raised something that isn't in the body of the report.
Okay, well, there's a recommendation there to refuse this consent. Opposed in a second? Opposed by Councillor Mann? Yes, you have. Opposed by Councillor. Seconded by Councillor. Those in favour, please show. And those against?